Okay, so you've shared a lot about this upcoming TikTok ban, and with it going into effect on January 19th, I think a lot of you listening are probably wondering, like, what does this mean for me? Especially if you've built your whole presence online or even a business on TikTok. So that's what we're going to be exploring in this deep dive. We're also going to look at some alternative platforms and creative strategies to help you kind of thrive, as things are changing so rapidly online.
Yeah, it is wild how fast TikTok just kind of blew up, right? I mean, it's influencing everything, music, fashion, the way we consume content, create content. But it was more than just trends and dances, It was the game changer for businesses.
Definitely. Yeah, the reach was undeniable. I mean, the influence it had, and the algorithm, it was powerful. It could take a small business and just catapult it to national recognition, almost overnight.
Right, and we can't forget about the creators, right? The people who were partnering with brands and building whole careers on TikTok. It was this amazing opportunity for organic content to reach millions of people. Essentially, it was a free promotional tool for businesses of all sizes.
And for Gen Z especially, it became more than just an app. I mean, this was a career path for a lot of people, a way to build your own brand and generate income.
Exactly. So, that's where this ban, it creates a lot of concern, right? The potential loss of reach and income, especially for people who built their livelihoods on TikTok. It's a real worry.
So let's talk about alternatives. If TikTok disappears, what are some viable alternatives? What platforms should creators and entrepreneurs be focusing on?
Well, there's some obvious ones. You've got Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. Those are kind of the front runners, mainly because they already have huge audiences and they're trying to, really capitalize on TikTok being gone. But the thing is, each platform has its own, quirks.
What do you mean? Isn't it just about creating video content?
Well, yeah, but it's more nuanced. I mean, repurposing content, taking stuff from TikTok and putting it on Reels and Shorts, that's fine as a starting point. But you really got to adapt that content to fit each platform. For instance, Reels, it's all about quick, grabby videos, often set to, trending sounds. Shorts, on the other hand, it might be better for slightly longer form content, like tutorials or something.
So creators need to really be strategic about repurposing, and they need to understand the audience on each platform.
100%. It's not, just copy and paste. You got to consider what does well, what the audience is looking for, all that.
Right. That makes sense. But let's say, beyond those big players like Reels and Shorts, what other income-generating strategies should creators and entrepreneurs be exploring?
Well, freelancing is always valuable. Platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, there's always demand for video editing, graphic design, content strategy. I mean, all these skills that creators have honed on TikTok, they're totally transferable.
That's true. It's like taking those skills and just, kind of making them work for you in a new way.
Right. And it actually goes hand in hand with this larger idea of building a brand beyond social media, creating something you actually own, like a website, a blog, an online store. That way you build a direct connection with your audience and, a more loyal customer base.
So it's about diversifying, right, your income streams and not being totally reliant on one platform, especially one you don't control.
Exactly. Creating a more sustainable, ecosystem for yourself.
This is really interesting. It's making me rethink how I approach content creation and my online presence.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about being proactive and adaptable. Yep. What else should we be thinking about?
Well, think about email marketing. Might seem a little old school, compared to social media, but it's a powerful tool to stay connected with your audience. It doesn't matter what happens on any platform, really.
Yeah, I see how that would be valuable. You're not at the mercy of an algorithm or platform changes. You have that direct line.
Exactly. And you can use email to keep them informed about new content, products, whatever you're offering. It's about community building.
Yeah, I like that, building a community. Speaking of which, what about online education? Could that be a viable path?
Oh, for sure. Platforms like Teachable, Skillshare, Gumroad, they're fantastic for creating and selling courses, workshops. I mean, if you've got expertise, this is a great way to leverage it.
So if you're really good at photography or something, you could create a course teaching your techniques. And that could be a whole new thing.
Precisely. You're sharing your knowledge, helping others, and building a sustainable income source for yourself.
Okay, so we've talked about freelancing, building a brand beyond social media, email marketing, online education. What other options are there?
Oh, well, don't forget podcasting. It's growing so fast. tons of ways to make money, from ads to sponsorships to, listener support through Patreon.
Well, hey, look at us. Perfect example. And, for creators who love to share products and stuff, there's always affiliate marketing.
Right. Promoting products through Instagram, YouTube, blogs. You can earn commissions, so it's another way to create a little passive income.
It's all about thinking outside the box, exploring multiple things, not limiting yourself.
And while TikTok might be going away, video content, that's still king. Mastering video creation for Reels, Shorts, even Snapchat Spotlight, that's going to be huge.
Oh, that's interesting that you mentioned Snapchat Spotlight. It seems like it gets overlooked sometimes, but it has a lot of potential.
It does. And while we're talking about overlooked platforms, don't forget LinkedIn. It's a powerhouse for networking, brand building, especially if you're in business or education.
That's a good point. I always think of LinkedIn for just like job stuff, but it's more than that. Showcasing your expertise and connecting with people. And, while we're at it, let's not forget Pinterest.
Pinterest. Amazing for driving traffic, to blogs, shops, other platforms. It's not just for recipes anymore.
So we're seeing this need to diversify, right?
Yeah.
It's about building a presence across multiple platforms to meet your audience wherever they are.
Even more important, it's a mindset shift. Moving away from just relying on one platform and towards building something more sustainable.
Yeah, creating something that can survive, something that doesn't fall apart when one platform changes or disappears.
Exactly. And this might seem overwhelming, but it's also a huge opportunity to be creative, to be innovative.
It's about trying new tools, exploring new things, and adapting to this ever-changing digital landscape.
It's about being curious, being adaptable, being a lifelong learner.
So for you listening, take a deep breath. This is a disruption, but it's also a catalyst for growth. It's a chance to reimagine what's possible and build something bigger and better.
The key is to view this as a beginning, not an ending. A new chapter with a lot of potential.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive. We'll be exploring specific strategies for navigating this new world, and we'll dig into the exciting opportunities that are emerging.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see how many creators and entrepreneurs are already adapting and finding new ways to connect, even before this TikTok ban is official.
It really shows you how resilient and creative people are online.
Yeah, for sure. In part 1, we were talking about some alternatives like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. But for someone who's really built up a following on TikTok and now they need to transition, what are some key things to keep in mind?
I think understanding the nuances of each platform, that's a big one. What works on TikTok, it won't always work on Reels or Shorts,
Right, so it's not just about taking your content and putting it somewhere else. It's about adapting.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Think about the format, what the audience expects, the kind of content that does well.
So you were saying that Reels is all about those really quick attention-grabbing videos, often with music, right?
Yeah.
Trending audio.
Right, exactly. While Shorts might be better for something a little longer, tutorials or educational videos that go a bit more in depth.
Gotcha. And no matter what platform, engaging with your audience is key. Responding to comments, asking questions, building a community.
Yeah, for sure. Building those connections helps you keep people around, even as platforms, come and go and change.
And we were talking in part 1 about email lists.
Yeah.
How can creators and entrepreneurs actually start building their lists, especially if they're used to relying on, algorithms?
Offer something valuable in exchange for an email. That's always a good way to start.
Like what? Like a free ebook?
Yeah.
Or a discount code? Maybe access to some exclusive content?
Exactly. It could be behind the scenes stuff, early access to new products, or even just a welcome message, something personal.
It's about giving people a reason to connect with you outside of the platform, right?
Yeah.
Stay in touch.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to promote that email list everywhere. Put it in your videos, your bio, remind people why it's good to join.
It's a long game, right? Investing in your audience and your brand.
For sure. And speaking of investments, let's go back to online education for a second. That's a great way to share make money, build a community.
It is, but there's so many platforms. So how do you choose?
Well, it depends on your goals and the type of course. If you're just starting out, Teachable or Skillshare are good options, user-friendly, they already have audiences.
But someone with a bigger brand, they might want to create their own platform, right?
Exactly. Maybe with something like Kajabi. It gives you more control, but it's more technical to set up.
And it doesn't matter what platform, that sense of community with your students is so important.
Yeah, 100%. Having a space for them to connect, ask questions, support each other, it really makes a difference.
It's more than just a course, right? It's a community built around what you're passionate about.
Speaking of communities, that's what makes podcasting so unique.
Right. It's a much more intimate medium. You connect with listeners in a different way.
And we mentioned earlier, there are tons of ways to make money with a podcast, from ads to sponsorships to, platforms like Patreon where listeners can support you directly.
I think the trick is finding the right way to make money that fits your values and your audience.
Yeah, experiment, see what works. Don't be afraid to try new things.
And remember, building a podcast takes time. You got to be consistent, deliver good content, and connect with people authentically.
And as you grow, so do the opportunities to make money and reach more people.
So whether it's online courses, a podcast, or something else entirely, taking action is key. And being open to learning and adapting along the way.
This whole transition is a chance to grow,
Yeah.
Discover new passions and new ways to connect.
It's not just about surviving. It's about thriving in this crazy, ever-changing online world.
Right. It's about building something that lasts.
Which brings us to a really important point, the mindset shift.
Yeah, because it's more than just tactics, It's about how we approach all this mentally, emotionally.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to talk about in part 3, exploring the mindset shifts that can help us, really navigate this transition successfully. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into this post-TikTok world. We've gotten so many questions from you guys, so much feedback. And I think it's safe to say there's a lot of uncertainty, maybe some anxiety even about, what all this means.
Yeah, and that makes sense. This is a big shift, right? It's totally natural to feel a little unsure about what's next.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about different platforms, ways to make money. But as we wrap this up, I kind of want to focus on the mental side of things, the emotional side of this transition.
Yeah, it's not just about the practical steps, right? It's about how we approach all this internally, the mindset.
Exactly. So let's talk about that mindset shift. What does it actually look like? What are some of the key things to keep in mind?
Well, I think a huge part of it is this idea of continuous learning, right? The internet, it's always changing. What works today might be gone tomorrow.
That's so true. It feels like there's a new app every day.
Right. And with that comes new algorithms, new trends, new ways of connecting with people. We have to be lifelong learners, always curious, always willing to adapt and try new things.
So it's not about mastering one platform. It's about being adaptable.
Exactly. And that means stepping outside your comfort zone, trying things even if they seem a little scary at first.
Which I think is where fear of failure comes in, right? It holds people back.
Absolutely. But you're going to fail sometimes, It's part of growing. It's through those mistakes that you learn the most valuable lessons.
So instead of being scared of failing, we should see it as a chance to learn.
Exactly. And that actually leads into another important part of this mindset shift, building a strong foundation, something that can handle change.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's about having multiple ways to make money, building things you own and control, not putting all your eggs in one basket, especially a basket you don't own.
So instead of relying on one platform, we need to create a portfolio of income.
Exactly. That could be freelancing, courses, affiliate marketing, a podcast, even your own brand. It's a safety net, so if one thing goes away, you're okay.
Yeah, multiple streams of income, multiple ways to connect with your audience.
Exactly. And that actually lets you be more creative because you're not constantly worried about losing everything. You can experiment, Push the boundaries a little.
That's a good point. It's when you have a solid foundation, you can build something really amazing on top of it.
And that's what this transition is all about, right? It's not about clinging to the past or being scared of the future. It's about being present,
Yeah.
Dealing with challenges and seeing the opportunities.
It's about using this whole thing, this disruption, to grow, to reimagine what's possible and create something even better.
The future of all this, it's in your hands. Don't let this change limit you.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this. Embrace the unknown, embrace the challenge, embrace the chance to create something amazing.
Thank you for joining us on this. We're excited to see what you come up with.
Keep learning, keep creating, and most importantly, keep diving deep.